Right. Those are the matches now. Robbie, it's time to talk about something that's got the wrestling world a buzz lately. Of course, the White Rabbit. Now, I'm loving it, right? What'd you say? Who?
Yeah.
I'm excited. Saying who? It could be Big E. Have you seen him lately? He's looking nice and strong again. He's
Sponsored
back to
by advertising for Wendy's. Did you see that? In his dungarees. What a great look. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice to see him picking people up again.
Yeah, of course, exactly that. Suddenly fancied a burger, so it works. Right, now going back to who it's going to be, because I don't think it's going to be Big E, right? Firstly, I think we all know. We'll get into that in a moment. But let's just get out there. The kind of promos and stuff like that, the QR codes, the viral kind of side of it, incredible. So cool. The going deeper. Have you seen the most recent clue? One of them leads to The Simpsons. I mean, look at me. I just realized.
Okay, yeah.
But, there's so much behind it. Shut up, man. I just think it's been great. I know a little section of the audience were annoyed that the first one led to SmackDown and we didn't get it on SmackDown. But if you really paid attention, it was like, follow me. We're going on a journey to SmackDown, to Raw, then to SmackDown, then to Raw. Like, that's what it was. So I wasn't expecting it to be revealed on SmackDown. But it's got to be Extreme Rules, right?
I don't know, man. I mean,
it's got to be.
Do you know, a part of me wants the reveal. But another part of me is like, do you know what? I'm enjoying the QRs and the chasing and people.
Yeah, but all it's doing at this stage is going, oh, it's definitely Bray. Like last time when we mentioned the one earlier on about Edge, and people thought that was Bray, and you could kind of, and quickly it was clearly Edge. It's like the Savers Jericho stuff. After a while, clearly Jericho. Yeah, and the same things happened there with Bray. And I think they'd shoot themselves in the foot if it's not Bray. We'll get to that in a moment. But I do think you are at risk of running it too long, and surely it's Extreme Rules for quite a few reasons. Number one, that. Number two, it's a PLE. And the third point is that, like, there's so much going on in this show already. You could argue that it doesn't need it, but I mean, come on, we look at the graphics of this show. I quickly put them up, and it's quite telling as well. So we'll go through the graphics. Of course, we've already kind of predicted these matches. We're not going to talk about them here, but we've got the women's match. Doesn't feature anything out of the ordinary here, but as soon as you go to a men's match, we've got a fireflies, we've got a lantern, we've got a move to the chair over here as well. Another men's match, it's the same. We go back to another women's match, it's all gone. We'll go back to another men's match, it's all back. And again, well, you can't really tell on that one, but you can see the lantern just above the Brawling Brutes there. So it's on every single men's match, which to me leads into, and I know you kind of said the theory earlier about Alexa Bliss, but to me that leads to, well, firstly, the things in that image are definitely Bray Wyatt images, right? Now, what excites me is that with the exception of the Brawling Brutes and Imperium, other than to just make a statement and be back at maybe the end of the show because that's the main event or something like that, there's no reason for him to get involved. I could basically see him get involved in every single one of these matches, right? And that's what's exciting. And I think it's a clear thing. They've gone to it where he's not come back in the women's match. Something is happening on this show in the men's matches, I think is what they're trying to say. Do you not see it that way?
Yeah, I do. I do see it that way. I'm just intrigued by the whole thing. Like, and normally you don't see the wrestling community go, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. And all of a sudden, there are so many like wrestling channels that I've watched, kind of similar to what we do with pro wrestling. And they kind of like decipher codes. And I've never seen so much of the wrestling community on the same page before about one thing. It's lovely to see.
It's so exciting, man. Yeah,
it really is. But yeah, it's definitely. I think it's definitely Bray. It's definitely going to be something to do with the men. But my worry is, if it becomes a part of Judgment Day, it's going to overshadow what the idea of Judgment Day was. So I really don't want it to be that match.
Okay, let's do that then. Let's go through where you want it to be. Right now, we've both kind of hinted there. I think we both think it's Bray, and it has to be Bray. It better be Bray, right? Whether or not it's Bray as the Fiend or something like that, or some sort of mix. Now, all these codes and all these things are leading to, we've had the rabbit, we saw the pig. I saw people even going at a stretch recently, like Braun's wearing red trousers, just like I think the pig was in the image. So, like, is it another kind of version of the Wyatts again? Will he come back as Bray Wyatt? Is he the Eater of Worlds? Is he the Fiend? Is he a new version of something else? I think, man, for me personally, I want him to come back with the old school music and stuff. I love the Fiend version, but we've got the lantern and stuff. But then he also touched on that when he was the Fiend as well. So either way, I'm excited if it's a new version, whatever it is, right? But we go through these matches, and like you say, where does it make most sense? Now, for me and you, I think we both agree it shouldn't be the Judgment Day, right?
Yeah.
The only way is if he goes against the Judgment Day, which might take away from, because everyone's going to be so excited for the Fiend. The excitement for the Judgment Day might get lost. You know, like you want them to be the cool bad guys, whereas they'll kind of be the kind of budget Fiend if they're facing the Fiend. It'll feel like, you know. So, I mean, they could play it well, but I worry about that. So I'm with you, and it shouldn't be the other way where he's joining the Judgment Day. Although it kind of makes sense in some sense that they're all spooky characters. Finn, we were talking earlier, you know, Finn is getting to be the leader and, you know, kind of the big bad Finn in his own right. So I don't want them to step on his toes. You've kind of already any kind of thought on him potentially going against the Judgment Day, or do you agree with what I said there?
Yeah, but then it doesn't make sense with him joining the Judgment Day, kicking out the original leader, and then Bray comes back. He then takes over Judgment Day. There's a rift between them, so then it's Finn versus Bray, and it's just messy. Like I'm Finn at the moment until they added Finn and Dominic.
Yeah,
really pushed it. Judgment Day were quiet, and we said it. Where have they been? We said it on stream.
What's going on? Yeah.
Now they're actually getting somewhere. They're getting through this thing with Edge.
Yeah.
I want to know who their next victim is.
We want to add fuel to the fire, not water.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to dampen this out and start a new fire over here and kind of, you know, in Bray. Right. I think it's clear. We've kind of said at least it's not going to be the women's, but if you want to hear Rob's theory on how it could be in the women's match, then check out the rest of our predictions here. But let's move on to the next one, which I do think is quite interesting. Drew McIntyre and Karrion Kross. Now, if Karrion wins and Drew kind of goes into the background, I could see this as Bray coming back as the baby face to face Karrion Kross, and that is a good way to get Karrion Kross looking like a serious thing if Bray's come back to fight Karrion. But again, are they too similar in character? Is this too soon in Karrion's kind of main roster kind of resurgence? And then on the other side of it, if he goes after Drew, that gives Drew something to do. You know, like he didn't win the title. He's got to do something after this, and being the heel, the babyface against the mega heel Bray, if he does come back as a heel, that'll be exciting. But I think it's a danger for Drew's character to have the cool heel against him at the moment. So what are you thinking with that one?
I mean, look, I don't mind either. As you said though, with this weirdness of what Bray brings, and Karrion Kross kind of has the same style. It'd be odd to put them together straight away.
Yeah,
having two, like, same way as we said with Judgment Day, because they've got the same sort of entity in the way they do things. Too much of it could be it'll rub the other way. As in when we got Sin Cara versus Sin Cara, it was a good match, but no one really cared because it was just too much of it at once in one match, and that could probably outshine what they're trying to do. So I think him going after Drew would be probably the better option.
Out of two of those, okay. And then the last match that we could see in theory really is Matt Riddle versus Seth Rollins. Now, to me, with a fight pit with a special guest referee, there's too much going on here for that. And what is the image going to be him showing up in the middle of a fight pit dressed like the Fiend? It doesn't quite fit either side of those things. We've seen this Seth Rollins thing before. I do think Riddle could work because although I said, you know, it's a danger that a big bad heel that is super cool going against Drew could be damaging. The same thing could be said for Matt Riddle, but Matt Riddle's got the kids behind him and stuff like that as well, so it would be strong enough. It would be almost like, and I don't really want to compare the guy to John Cena or anything like that, I'm not saying that's who he is, but in a similar sense that he's got the kids behind him no matter what at the moment. So even if the kind of older kind of smart fans start to move away from him thinking he's not as cool anymore because they've kind of sided with Bray and being excited about that, it wouldn't damage Riddle as much. So I could see it in that sense. I think Riddle playing up to it and scared of the Fiend and stuff like that. I think Riddle's played a real kind of interesting side against Seth at the moment, being angry and serious and stuff like that. So I can see that. But for me, this doesn't fit with where I want Bray to go. What about you?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's really weird the way they've set it up. I mean, who was Bray's last appearance was WrestleMania, right?
I have no idea. What?
Let me
Oh
have a
wait, the
look.
Jack in the Box, was it that one?
Yeah. It was when
No, that one was it really?
when Alexa cost him. Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was.
But yeah, because he went away and then he got released. Yeah, because then Alexa went into the thing with Randy Orton, and it was like, yeah, it's going to come back. Something's going to happen. Or did he come? I don't know.
Bray Wyatt's last match, WrestleMania 37, he was pinned by Randy Orton in a one-on-one. So, bearing in mind,
could go after Matt Riddle. Is that what you're saying?
That's what bearing in mind, obviously that, and obviously, as I said, Alexa cost that match, and I'm not saying it's going to happen with the women. However, what if something happened to Alexa in that match, and all of a sudden
she gets kidnapped? Like the lights go out, she's gone.
Yeah, Alexa's just gone, and then
Matt Riddle's gone. Imagine they do that through the night. People he doesn't like just gone.
Gone. But
and then they all shove in the middle of the ring, and he's there with them.
Just a tea party. But yeah,
they're all trapped in a room with the characters from the Firefly Funhouse.
I'd be down for that.
Okay, now we're getting wild into fantasy booking. Now, I've gone through those matches, and already I'm starting to think, I don't know where he fits in then. I've gone from thinking I could show up at any of those matches, but I'm not sure which one I prefer, man. What about you?
If it's going to be anything, then I feel like it's going to be something that pushes both guys. If Karrion Kross let's say Karrion Kross gets the victory against Drew, having Bray come back and then starting that feud, having Bray win, then it really kind of relinquishes everything that they've done for Karrion Kross at this point. So if it's a no-win situation, if Kross wins, it looks bad on Bray. If Bray wins, it looks bad on Kross. It needs to be someone that's established enough that can take a loss.
Yeah, good point.
And it doesn't affect. So I don't think it's going to be Kross. Seth would be a prime person because he can take a loss at any point and still bounce back. Drew would be another one.
You know what? I'm starting to think Edge then, because
Edge maybe Edge,
and Edge I think would really I think he'd be excited to work with Bray as well.
But then
so I think. But then that would feel like it's a Judgment Day link, wouldn't it? It'd be hard to differentiate. Exactly. Judgment Day would literally have to leave the ring, and make it clear this is nothing to do with us. You know?
Yeah.
So maybe it is Edge.
No, Edge or Drew. I think
Edge or Drew. Yeah. I mean, it could be something else. It could be the Bloodline. The Bloodline could randomly come out to do a promo, and then he comes out. But then it would be. If you're judging by the character of Bray, he's snuck all this into production, and he's on the background images and stuff like that. He's got a plan to come back. Why would he then do it at a segment that he didn't know was going to happen because the Bloodline themselves just decided to come out and talk trash?
Yeah.
That wouldn't make any sense for the way they've built this. So, yeah, it maybe would be Edge then.
I don't know. It's either that or we don't get him at all, man. Like it's just a build, and it's another one of them things where it's like, okay. It's like, what's the word? You're chasing the rabbit, like you're following the rabbit everywhere it goes, right?
Yeah.
So let's say, for example, not a rabbit appears, but something happens in the Extreme Rules PLE, which then leads us to something else. I mean, we're just speculating that he's going to appear.
I hope. You know what I would hope? Even I do hope he comes out at Extreme Rules, but I think it'd be nice if through the night the hints continue. Like what you said about Rabbit. I'd love if someone wouldn't like Liv or anyone when they go under the ring to grab a weapon, they pull out a stuffed rabbit and they're like, and just throw it at Ronda or something like that. I think stuff like that would be so cool to kind of build through the night, But yeah, we'll see with that. I think. I'm hoping he does come back. I'm hoping it is Bray, of course. I don't know what version of Bray we're going to get. I reckon it'd be some sort of mix and new version as well. But it's going to be exciting, man. I'm really looking forward to it. And I think this is the biggest kind of takeaway at the moment is that wrestling and WWE specifically is really exciting to watch again. And I think that's pretty much it on Bray. Anything else you want to say about the White Rabbit situation?
The conspiracy theories are going nuts. Like all
the
theories.
Drop us with some conspiracy theories.
All right, so there was one when he'd obviously done a Morse code, and it said, "Is it Azil or something like that?" Is the name?
Right.
Hang on, let me find it.
There was the backwards. There
was a backwards
thing, which people played at a certain speed, and it did sound a little bit like Bray as well.
But it sounded like there was two people speaking. So does that mean there's two people coming back? So that's another one. There was one to do with, I can't remember what part it was at. But if you decipher the code, it says drink your Ovaltine.
Oh yeah.
What the hell is that about? So we got that. Then obviously we've had the different pigs. There was 3 little pigs and a big bad wolf. That was what was flashing. I don't know if people got
the
that.
light keeps going out as well.
The light keeps coming out. So yeah, and the thing is, I think if they've bought the rights to the song that they've been playing,
do you think he'll come out to that?
Well, it'd be very stupid to buy the rights to it and not use it in any other way.
Yeah, I don't know if they have bought the rights though, because a lot of you can play music in arenas that you're not going to broadcast. So
I guess
I think that might just be that, but I do hope
maybe
they bought the rights to it. I feel like Triple H is the kind of person that would be on board and say, "Yeah, I'm going to pay for that."
Yeah.
He's had it himself with Motorhead, and they've used Metallica and stuff like that, which
at
the same time is a touchy thing, because 5-10 years later, when it shows up on DVDs and kind of Blu-rays and the network, they tend to, as we know from doing the ECW watch along recently, they end up then being like, well, we had the rights for that month. That's it.
Yeah.
It kind of ruins it. So we don't want that with this. So hopefully that won't be the case. But I'm excited. But any other wild theories you got there that it's not Bray, maybe?
No, not really.
It's Bray. It's Bray.
It's got to be. I mean, people were saying it's Karrion Kross, and then they've done a promo and put a QR code at the end of that promo. So I was like, there's no way it can be him now.
I mean, the whole thing with him was that he wrestled as White Rabbit, didn't he? Lucha Underground. So there is that. Unless Karrion Kross and the Fiend become a team, something like that, So,
I mean, I don't
Fiend
mind.
Comes back and he's like, "You are my White Rabbit." Do you know what I mean? And the White Rabbit Karrion Kross was leading to me. You could do it that way.
Did you see the thing where it was each person had each character from the fight, like the Firefly Funhouse stuff, represented one person? So the rabbit was Cross, and then some I think the pig was Braun Strowman, and it all
each of the red trousers.
Yeah. And each character represented someone else. I was like, that's cool. But then obviously we still got Alexa with Lily, and recently they've only started putting Lily back on and changed her clothes. Why? There's a reason.
I think that's it. It's red herrings, man. They're throwing us all about. But either way,
red herrings, white rabbits. There's too much.
Yeah. That's it. So at the time of recording as well, we've got a Raw and SmackDown to get through with more kind of hints, I'm sure, and we'll be kind of following through that and catching up with the rest of you really in time for the build-up show, of course, before Extreme Rules on Saturday night. So stick around for that. Subscribe